What's up, guys, and welcome to another video. This one may hurt some feelings, but just like my good friend Will Nolan says, the truth hurts at first, but heals in the end. Such a good quote. But this one is 3 things that modern men don't want to hear. And I just want to preface this message by saying these are all lived experiences. I'm not this guy that's pontificating on these topics, right? I've made a lot of mistakes, and this has been the whole inspiration for this channel, for my Instagram page, for everything that I do now, is to provide this wisdom and insight to other young men, and women could probably take something from my message as well, to apply this to their own lives so you can avoid these mistakes that I made, because there were many. I was raised with no father, and I had to just stumble through life to get to this point that I'm at now. And I still don't have it all figured out, but I'm on my way. And so the first one is that masculinity is not a costume. Masculinity is not your bench press. It's not the muscles you have, your six pack, your material possessions, your bank account, the car in your driveway, the amount of women you've slept with. This is not masculinity. See, I used to think that you could put on this costume of masculinity, this armor of masculinity. This is why, not why, but I lost a bunch of weight. I got in really good shape. I thought, okay, I finally became a man because I looked like one. Not at all. I have met men that do not have six packs. I have met men that don't lift a lot of weight. That's not what makes a man. It's not what makes a man at all. A lot of times the guys that hinge their whole masculinity on their physique oftentimes are the most effeminate men out there. And that's the reality. And so getting in good shape is great. It's something that we should all pursue, but do not make it an idol. Do not make it part of your identity. Look at it as glorifying the temple that God has given you. It's not what makes a man at all, because I've met men of all statures. I made it an idol, and you absolutely should not. The other thing is, your bank account, the amount of money you make, does not make you a man either. Of course, okay, you can provide. You've provided value. Making a lot of money is a good thing. It's a valuable skill to have, because as men, we need to be able to provide for ourselves and for our families and to contribute meaningfully to society. But also is not what makes you a man at all. Again, guys try to hide their insecurities in wealth, and there's absolutely no way to properly do that, because it's hollow and it's meaningless. And so this one, for all my tattooed brethren out there, listen, I enjoy tattoos. I like tattoos. I'm not going to get into, the Christian argument of whether or not it's a good thing to get. That's for a future video. This wasn't the whole intention, but part of the intention to getting all these tattoos was I wanted to look a certain way. I wanted to look more badass. I wanted to look more intimidating. I wanted to look more manly. Okay. The point of this is that you can't put this stuff on. Masculinity is not a costume. Okay. Masculinity is the strength of a man's character, his unwavering faith, and his commitment to his family. And if you don't have a family, it's your commitment to your community. It's also the restraint that you possess, the element of self-sacrifice that you have, the love that you have for other people, right? It's also how competent you are, the level of honor and mastery you possess. All of these things are far more important principles of masculinity than simply just putting on a costume, getting jacked, getting tattoos, making a lot of money, sleeping with women. That certainly does not make you a man. That makes you a little boy that has no control over his carnal desires. And that's an absolute fact. And this is why I love to reference the Lord of the Rings. Because if you look at the cast of the Lord of the Rings, they're all very different men, but they're all masculine men. And I would say that they're all equally masculine men, because how those virtues present themselves in all the different characters are slightly different, but they're all equal in strength. So you don't have to be the guy that's the Aragorn, right, to be a man. The classic hero archetype. You could be Frodo and be just as much of a man, right? So that's number 1. Number 2, sexual experience does not serve you. Sexual experience does not serve you. There's this other idea in modern culture where you kind of have to see if the shoe fits and gain all of this experience to know what you like. That's absolutely false. If you look at the statistics of intimate satisfaction, married couples experience the deepest levels of satisfaction and better sex. Right? And I'm not telling you to just rush into getting married just so you can have sex. No, right? You got to vet the woman. You've got to, court her. And I'm going to be getting into that into a future video. But sexual experience destroys men and women. Okay. You hear all this stuff online about how it destroys a woman's pair bonding ability. It might be slightly more significant for a woman in that sense, because they carry the burden of pregnancy and the risk of that and carrying another man's child, of course. But it also ruins a man's pair bonding ability as well. It makes you jaded. Okay. It leaves you exposed to STDs. right? And just like the pursuit of money, it's never enough. It's never enough. Because I look back, I have a very promiscuous past. I'm very open about it. I don't feel good about it. And this is why I talk about it so much. Because it's such a popular topic, right? It's such a hot button thing. So many men are talking about being high value and sleeping with a bunch of women. It does not make you high value. It makes you low value. All you're doing is masturbating with other people's bodies. That's it, right? People talk about no FAP and all this stuff, but then they're going and literally doing the same thing just with other people. And I'd venture to say that that's worse because you're dragging another person into sin with you, okay? I'm a father, I'm a husband, a soon-to-be father of 2. I have a little girl. And how does my sexual experience serve me as a husband with my wife in our intimate life? It does not serve me at all. No bedroom theatrics, no memories I can look back on. All it does is fill a man's mind with filth and leave him with baggage. And it's the same thing for women. You take a bit from this guy, or from that woman, and you carry a piece of them with you forever, right? Unfortunately so. So I've deceived a lot of women into doing that. Women have deceived me into doing that, and it does not serve me in any which way. I wish I could take it all away. I wish I could meet my wife as a virgin. I'm not even joking. If you talked to me a couple of years ago and you said that you were a virgin if you're a man that had a low notch count, I'd laugh. And now I applaud because, man, what a gift that is. So if you're a man that's watching this and you're a virgin, you have a lower notch count, that is a precious gift, my man. And the same thing for the women. Your chastity is precious. And men, your chastity is just as important as the woman that you seek to marry. That's a fact. Number 3 is if you watch pornography, consume fast food, don't prioritize sleep, don't exercise, scroll too much on social media, live a meaningless life, hate your job, smoke weed, drink too much, all of these things, and claim that you're depressed, you're probably not depressed. You just have no discipline. You see this whole culture, this whole population of people that are on SSRI drugs. And listen, I've been on many as a youngster because I was, anxious, depressed, all of this stuff. But when I look back, I was abusing drugs, I was abusing alcohol, I was watching pornography, I wasn't sleeping well, I wasn't taking care of myself. My dopamine receptors were fried. Nothing felt good because I was just gaining all of this cheap dopamine. I was just looking for the easiest possible way to feel good. See, your body is very smart. Your soul is very smart. It knows when it receives cheap dopamine. And the price of that, the cost of that, is your soul and your sanity. So most people nowadays, modern depression isn't real depression. SSRI drugs don't even address depression because depression is not a problem with your serotonin. It's not. It's a problem most of the time with your dopamine. So most men are floating around in life, living absolutely meaningless lives, not contributing meaningfully to society, with no purpose. They're watching pornography, they're drinking and eating all kinds of garbage, scrolling on social media and wondering why they're upset, wondering why they're depressed. You're depressed because you're lazy. You're depressed because you have no discipline. You're depressed because you need motivation to do things that you should be doing anyways, right? And not to mention that if you don't believe in God, if you don't have faith, of course you're going to be depressed. Because what do you believe in then? We are built for infinity. We are built for worship. And what we worship, we got to be very careful about. Because if we don't worship God, we end up worshiping something on this earth. And that thing on this earth will always fail us. So if you're doing all of these things and you're frying your dopamine system and you claim that you're depressed, I don't take you seriously. You're probably not depressed. Therapy doesn't work unless you do. Medication is just like a Band-Aid on a gaping wound. You need to fix what's wrong with you first. You got to get disciplined, really assess your life and take an inventory of your life, what you're doing, your vices versus your virtues, and fix that. You need more discipline. You don't need more drugs. That's it. 3 things modern men don't want to hear. I'll catch you in the next video.